Welcome to the Love Lab podcast, a safe place to get real about sex. Whether you're a man, woman, single, or couple, this is the show for you.
We are your hosts, Kevin Anthony and Céline Remy, and we are here to guide you to go from good to amazing in the bedroom and beyond.
All right, welcome back to the Love Lab podcast. This is episode 157, and it is titled Our Live Tarot Reading, Kevin and Céline's Love Prediction. So, here on the show, we'd like to leave no stone unturned. So in other words, if there is a tool or a practice or something that you could potentially use to make your life better, your relationship better, your sex life better, then we want to explore it and find out whether or not it has value for you. We're doing the legwork for you. We're testing everything out. We're using ourselves as guinea pigs, hence the Love Lab. So today we're going to have a special guest on who's actually going to do a live reading. So you've heard us on the show many times talk about like how easy our relationship is and how things tend to work and all that. Well, now you're going to find out what the cards actually say. Does it match up with what we tell you? Or are we completely full of shit? We will find out. We were both saying before this, we're like, we're a little nervous. What are these cards going to say? Like,
It's all good. It's all good. I'm excited to see, and I'm excited to get some insight. And I'm also excited for all of our listeners to get a feel of what it's like, because when you hear tarot cards, there's a lot, like usually you think about this like gypsy woman with her the crystal ball and a thing over her head, and it's like full of mysticism, and it doesn't have to be that way. And today our guest Maisy will probably tell us more about this too, and you'll see that it's a tool that you can use to really enhance your love life, your understanding of yourself, and use it for your self-development. So I'm excited that we'll be able to show that in live. So before we get started, let's give a big shout out to our sponsors, Power and Mastery. If you want to join the secret club of men who are great in bed, then check out Power and Mastery at powerandmastery.com. It is the most complete sexual mastery training for men. Whether you want to have harder erections, last longer, or increase your sexual skills, there is something for you at powerandmastery.com. So go check it out. Our guest today is Maisy Bristol. She is a sought-after tarot teacher and an astrologer that guides individuals towards clarity and self-development. Maisy specializes in offering one-on-one readings that provide her audience the healing tools they need for a deeper understanding of their mental health, relationships, and life choices. Her work helps people dial into their inner wisdom for self-development and reflection when going through transformative challenges. So welcome, Maisy, to the Love Lab podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's super exciting to be here.
We're excited too, and nervous. I'm already sweaty.
Okay, so for the listeners, what we've decided to do today is we're going to kind of just jump right into the reading, and we'll let Maisy describe what kind of a reading she's going to do. And then we're going to talk about it a little bit. And then we've got some follow-up questions about tarot itself and basically what you just witnessed.
Yeah. And I want to say too, like, Maisy, maybe you could talk a little bit about this, like, because people think, are you going to predict the future? Is it what's happening? Or maybe we could kind of lay that ground for so people can understand what's happening really there.
Right. So a lot of people think about tarot as like some prophecy kind of prophesizing tool that we can look into the future with and predict things. And that can happen, but I usually find that tarot is most effective when we're talking about self-development and just understanding where our thoughts are in the current moment. It's all about sorting all the thoughts that are happening up in our heads.
So would you say then, like, there are other tools that people use, pendulums or whatever, but my take on a lot of those tools have always been that what they're really doing is helping you basically talk to your inner self, right? And so getting the answers from your inner self that your sort of inner self knows that aren't being influenced by your conscious mind. Would that be kind of similar with tarot?
Yep. I I definitely feel that a lot of answers are coming from our intuition. But on top of that, I also like to associate it with journaling, because that's really what journaling is about. You're talking to yourself, you're trying to lay out all your thoughts. So, and sort of come up with a narrative flow, with those thoughts. You just, when you journal, you just write everything down that you have upstairs, and then you kind of go, oh, I get it now. I can understand how A goes to Z. So with tarot cards, I always associate each card with like a thought or like something upstairs, right? So then we have all those thoughts scattered on the table, and a tarot reader's job is to kind of find the narrative between them, so that it's understandable for the client, because we go through a lot of situations that are just so overwhelming emotionally and physically and mentally, that it can be hard to figure out from a realistic or third party perspective what is actually happening and take our hearts out of it. So tarot cards, I think, are a very blatant way to do that, where even if you're not consulting in a tarot reader who's a third party, the act of using tarot is a third party system. Like, it's an objective thing that you cannot run away from or cannot really dispute. It is harder to read for yourself, I'll say that. But when, a negative, more negative card, I don't like to use negative positive reinforcements, but like the Tower comes up for a yes or no answer, or yes or no question, it's going to be like a no. So it's hard to say, oh, actually I'm reframing that, so I want to see what I want to see. But tarot can be that third party perspective for you.
Okay, so tell the listeners what you're going to do today.
Okay, so today we are going to do a reading for you two live, and it's going to be super fun. Before we started this recording, we come up with a 5-card spread, but I think I'm going to add another card in there, so I'll tell you what it is. So we have 6 cards total. We have an overview card, just like where you are right now, what your relationship is, the current energy. The second card is what Kevin brings to the relationship. And then the third card is what Céline brings to the relationship, that Kevin needs, or that Céline needs, basically what you bring that the other partner needs very much in a relationship. The special element of this relationship, why is it special? And the 5th card is a long-term potential card. Like, where is this going? What is this going to like stand the test of time? That kind of thing. And the last card is an advice card.
All right.
All right, let's do it.
And how does it work? Do we, you do it? Do we talk in between? You just talk
I typically don't like to talk, because this is not about me. So if whoever is talking or collecting the energy in the space is who the cards are going to respond to. So I normally tell a client, I just ask them questions so that they talk, or you guys talk. If you guys just talk to each other, we're basically picking up on your relationship. So that's what I would say.
Okay.
All right.
Shuffle.
All right. Well, Maisy knows nothing about us, so we have not given her anything. This is all all in the moment.
That's right.
Have you guys gotten a reading before?
I have, yes, but not for us. But
Not for us,
yeah.
no,
And I do tarot cards myself. Like, I have for 20 years, so I love tarot cards. But yeah, we haven't done this for ourselves.
We have not.
Well, this is so exciting. It's hard to read for yourself, and
It is,
in my opinion.
Yeah.
So would you guys both say that you're open to it? Well, you're Céline's definitely open.
Absolutely.
Okay. So normally my process here is just to wait to see until the cards like stop popping out of the deck.
Mm-hmm.
I consider them their own live entity, so I don't disturb them while they do their work. And so if they keep popping up or cards keep flying out, then I keep going until I feel like it's settled. So we're almost there. I'll cut the deck twice, and then I will pull usually like an energy card from there. I call it an energy card, but it's like a theme card, basically. Mm-hmm. A way to look through the spread in a different lens, or like in an overview lens. Okay, so we're getting clues.
We are shuffling. We are breathing. Our hearts are beating.
I should have had the sound effects today. We could have the Jeopardy music going in the background. Do, 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 do. I don't know. What does this mean if it takes like a really long time for the cards to settle down? I don't know. Is this a good omen or a bad omen?
Maybe it just means there's a lot of energy there.
Okay.
All right. There's something
You
going
guys
on.
are killing it.
There's something going on here. We don't know what yet. The anticipation is building.
Are you as nervous as we are, dear listener?
I actually am a little nervous. I'm like, oh, I hope it says something good. I know it is important to know that, it's not necessarily good or bad. Like if you do tarot and you understand the cards, like some people will see a particular card and like, that's horrible. It means life's going to be over. I'm sure Maisy will talk more about this, but it doesn't necessarily mean that at all.
Nope.
So that's important to know. And remind ourselves as we're waiting on our cards. We don't know what will happen.
Okay. So the first thing I will say, so we had 2 flyer cards, and then I pulled my little energy card, and then we have the 6 cards for the spread. So
Okay.
we'll go through that. But the first thing I will say is that you have a lot of like high value or high key energy going on, because we have a lot of court cards that are both king and queens. So and a lot of really solid major arcana cards. So overall, I'm saying that you guys are in a very mature, stable, and intense relationship. Like it's just really nice to see king and queens together, because it's like that's like power couple status, So the first thing we'll go into is the energy card and the 2 flyer cards. So the energy card I got was the Queen of Swords. And so obviously I'm just thinking this is Céline. So we have swords as a suit it's a suit of action. It's what we do, why we do those things. So the Queen of Swords is generally like a woman who knows exactly what she wants and knows exactly how to get there. And so she's like not afraid to take the next step, to be bold, to really take action, as opposed to just daydreaming or like feeling and not doing, you know what I mean? So it seems to me that you're a very powerful, like powerhouse kind of woman who takes charge and will make things happen. That's just at the forefront of the relationship. That's you. And it's almost like you're the one who guides the relationship, not the relationship itself, or maybe actually both, I would say, but like, it's like you're the one who leads you guys in social situations. Like you're the one who goes, hello, this is me and this is Kevin, and you start talking and he's like, cool, you do your thing, and then you come in later. So Celine's really like the force, la force, and I think maybe that also might mean that you wear the pants in the relationship, but we'll look through the rest.
Well, should we comment as you go, or should we just wait till the end?
You can do whatever you want. If you want to comment as we go, that's totally fine.
Oh yeah, let's comment.
I get on a rant. I get like in the zone and I just like spew out information. So if you want to stop and talk, that's totally cool. Well, I forget to stop.
No worries. So I would say that yes, Céline is very powerful and she definitely knows what she wants, and she's definitely a doer. In fact, she's so much of a doer that sometimes I have to remind her to stop doing. So yeah, that part is absolutely true. No doubt about that. I would say though, you definitely don't wear the pants per se in the relationship, and you're not so much the one out front in the social situations. But when you feel comfortable with people that you know well, then that actually is much more true.
Yeah, because I'm actually the introvert and he's the extrovert. So usually in social things, I let him go first and kind of like stay behind until I feel like I'm safe. And then I can be like, okay, I can really be myself. So that's interesting too. But I see the part of the driving where definitely I'm usually the one pushing us to be like, okay, let's do this upgrade or let's do that and like kind of make things happen. And when I decide something, it happens. very quickly.
That is true. Once you've decided, I'm like, oh, how's this all right? There's no
Get out of
stopping
your
it.
Well, okay, I'm just gonna keep on going.
Yes.
So we have the Queen of Swords at the beginning and at the forefront, the theme, and then we have the other two flower cards. And this is a very specific situation, and it may relate specifically to Céline, but it's definitely to one of you. But this is why I'm like, well, maybe the Queen of Swords came up with them together because it's talking about Céline. But the idea here is that we have the Seven of Swords, and we have death. So I'm thinking like as Seven of Swords, that means, well, that's like revealing secrets and hidden truths. And then death, the death card is new beginnings or transition. So the evolvement of this relationship has been from a place of let's start a new chapter. It's from a place of you were hurt once before and now it's time to be open again. So someone was healed in this relationship because, or due to like a past relationship where someone was dishonest or where they were just opening up so much and that they didn't receive the same kind of love. So like I'm thinking like revealing secrets or hidden truths is either regarding a past person that hurt you, or it's the fact that you revealed so much that it didn't work out in the end and you were like guarding your heart. So in going into this relationship. So the point is the Queen of Swords may have, if this is about you, then it's more like you are this way. And so so confident, and because you feel so supported, because you have that like new beginning, that fresh start. And it just looks like a really healing and sensitive relationship so far. So that is like the overall scope. And then we can kind of get into the what the rest of the cards say, because some of them say other things back to these cards. Sometimes that's why I like to just talk, because like we circle back to other things. So the overview, I said I was going to pull a card for like how it's going, what's happening. We got the King of Cups. So this is a king. We have two kings in this spread here, and then the one queen up front. So to me, I mean, this is to me, it represents Kevin, and cups are about our emotions and sensibilities. And it just basically, this tells me that he's providing you a sensitive space for you to share your feelings on anything. It's like, I can handle all the emotions. I can handle anything that you throw at me. I can handle the ups and downs. And sometimes I feel like the King of Cups is kind of like he has so much to share, but he like doesn't, or something. But I feel like in this particular sense that it's more like you're just creating a safe emotional space for her. So that's for her, like a soft landing. So there's a lot of support and a lot of love in this relationship currently. Yes. And then on top of that, what you bring to the relationship is the next card. And that was the 10 of Cups here. So again, we're like seeing that transition, or like the connection between the two Cups cards. This is a card of like total emotional fulfillment. So what he brings to Céline is the idea that like true love really exists, and this is really a thing. And here we are living our best life. And I feel like, especially if this is about Céline in the background, that maybe that dream wasn't a reality at one point, and that was something that you were questioning, and maybe that love wasn't, not that it didn't exist, but maybe it wasn't going to exist for you in the way that you had hoped or had dreamed about. So for him to come in and be like, I can handle this, and I want all those emotions, and I want to be deep with you, is kind of like a dream come true. So you feel really just like totally at peace, which is nice. I mean, it's awesome. What you bring for him, we got the High Priestess, which is the Moon's card, which is all about emotions. So you guys are both like, there's just like emotion, like the emotional channel is just like flowing. It's awesome. It's like just totally open. There's nothing to hide. There's no like blocks or walls, which is great. But on top of that, the High Priestess is about intuition. And gut instincts. So I feel like she brings out that risk that we were talking about earlier, the like gut instincts. Follow this gut like instinct that you have. Don't overthink it. It's going to be great, where she just helps you kind of to tap into your inner voice.
Yeah, that's one thing I've definitely learned with her is to trust her intuition. She rarely is very strong about something, like, if we were trying to make a decision. And when she comes in and she's like, no, we need to do this. I've learned I need to listen to that. Like, a perfect example was in 2020, there's a yearly trip that we go on every year. And all of a sudden, a few months leading up to the trip, she was like, I don't know why, but I'm getting a big no. We shouldn't travel abroad right now. And I was like, we take this trip every year. She's like, I'm just getting a really big no. And I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to you. I will tell our friends that we normally travel with that we're not going to go this year. And you know what happened? The very month that we were supposed to go, COVID lockdown.
That's so wild.
Okay.
Oh my God. What kind of like Scorpio, Pisces stuff do you have in your chart? All that intuition.
I don't know.
Oh, that's awesome.
Look at it.
Well, yeah, this is definitely her being like, listen to me. I know what I'm doing. And also, like it's not just about her being intuitively right, but she's also like, trust your intuition because this is how I've learned. I'm not special. I just listen to what myself is telling me. And you can do that too. And so I think just like opening up that whole idea that our intuition can be so right is probably one thing. Okay, so then we have the last 3 cards, which are the special connection here. And this is why when I said the pants, I was like, I'm not really sure about this because and then I was like, we'll see the rest because this, I couldn't remember what category this card was in because I had it written down over here and I wasn't prepared. So, but the special connection is that we got the King of Swords. And then right away I'm going, oh, this is the Queen of Swords. So really the special connection is that you guys are both equally, like this is the most equal that you can get, really, between the King and the Queen, and both having the swords. You guys are both like up there, royalty. You both have the definitive action and the ability to take action in this relationship. You don't put each other down. You listen to each other's ideas. Swords are about our ideas too, and logic and intelligence. So you both find each other highly intelligent. So it just is like a perfect match, really. So the specialness of the relationship is that it's beautiful and like super compatible. So I know we haven't gotten to anything really like super bad or anything, but I pulled the long term because I thought it would show what's coming up for you, because everyone has ups and downs in their relationship. And this one isn't really like a down, but it is something that like may come up over the next hundreds of years that you guys or that your souls are together. But we got the Hanged Man reversed for the long-term potential. And this doesn't really mean anything other than the fact that you guys are going to continue revealing deeper, darker sides of yourself. Like I view the Hanged Man as the skeleton in the closet, the kind of things that we kind of shove away and we're like, not now, don't feel like it. And when it's upright like this, it means we got reversed here, but when it's upright, it means that we're acknowledging that it's time to face those fears or those insecurities or those things that we don't want to look at. But when it's reversed, it means that something is like thrown at us so that we cannot escape it and we must face it. So basically what this tells me is that you guys are going to be helping each other work on your insecurities and working on those stuff that you think are gross about yourself and just hate. So it's a positive. It's saying that I know that you have been through these experiences already, but it's saying that there's more to come and that there's more growth to be had here. So it's not just love and stagnant forever. It's like love and growth, which in turn grows the love too. So it's all positive, but there's more to come.
No, just kidding.
And the final card we have is the 9 of Pentacles first. So the 9 of Pentacles, so this is what I'm feeling. The 9 of Pentacles is a card of like abundance, bountiful, material abundance. It's like not just the material abundance, like our possessions, but it's also our self-worth. Pentacles is like an earth energy. So it is that like value in both money and self-worth. So upright, this card is like, I have high self-worth. I have high value. I like surround myself with valuable things and I feel really good about it. It's just being super pleasurable, like just like laying in satin sheets, that's kind of what this is like. But reversed, it makes me feel like you guys don't take a lot of time to come together in these like material pleasures, like going out on a nice date or like, I don't know. I mean, not having sex, but more like exploring like more luxury sides of sex or more sensual sides. And it's mostly because I think you're just so busy. Like you're doing like so much stuff. It's not because like that's not there, but it's more like, I think that there needs to be some more time in just, I don't know, luxury, whatever that means to you, whether it's like dark chocolate and wine or just like a moment to lay in bed, on a Sunday morning without having to think about what's next for the podcast or whatever you're doing that day. Just taking time in and spending in that material bliss.
That's so funny that you mentioned that, because yesterday we were spending time with a friend of ours who's also a very successful entrepreneur. And she was kind of telling us about her week and her schedule. And her schedule includes a spa day every week where she literally has like this whole spa treatment. And she's telling us about her whole schedule. And we're both looking at each other going like,
what are we doing?
What are we doing? Because you're right. We don't take a lot of time necessarily to spend in luxury. That's pretty true. We're both rather practical people, and we've always got our financial goals here, and we're saving for this and we're doing that. And you're right. We don't actually spend a lot of time. We're not necessarily hey, let's go spend a couple of days in a 5-star hotel, but we would like to.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it doesn't even have to be like 5-star, anything, but just like creating a sense of we're going to spend on ourselves is what I'm like feeling, like we're going to treat ourselves.
We've been working on that one more in the last few months, but prior to that, yeah, that's true. We really haven't. I mean, I wanted to, I've been mountain biking for almost 30 years. It's like one of my passions, and I haven't bought a new bike in a decade. And I really wanted a new one, and she literally had to like twist my arm to convince me to spend the money on it. They're very expensive these days.
Yeah.
So yeah,
not cheap.
We don't often allow ourselves some of those pleasures, I guess, that we should.
But we have been doing better, and apparently it's something that we need to bring more.
Yeah.
Hey, that's going to be a fun date night to brainstorm what we can do. Make our new wish list.
Right. All right. Any other comments on the reading that you'd like to share with us?
Other than it looks like you guys are a match made in heaven. No. It looks very good. I mean, the cards I wouldn't say that unless I was actually seeing it. And it's pretty hard to deny like this court card symmetry. This is huge. I mean, we only pulled 6. Well, we have 4, 8, 9 cards. Yeah, we have 9 cards. I'm so great at math. We have 9 cards, and there are 78 cards in the whole tarot deck, and we got 2 from the same court card system, and they're both high value court cards. So that's massive.
Well,
you can't deny it.
I will say to the listeners, and I don't know, maybe lots of people feel this way, but what we see in the reading here is actually what we've always felt since we've been together. Mm-hmm. So it's actually really cool to see that the cards reflect what we feel our experience actually is.
Absolutely. And also when you find your perfect match, you feel it, you know it, it's different. And because we've both been in different relationship prior, and there's a different feeling for sure.
Yeah, this is one of those things where, everybody wants to know, well, how do you know it's the right one, right? Every romantic comedy movie, this is the question that comes up. How do you know that he or she is the right one, And the funny thing is those movies, the answer in those movies always is, you just know, right? And everybody's like, oh yeah, you just know.
You're like, awesome. Thank you so much for the advice.
Yeah, fucking doesn't help, right? But I will just say this, that I was already significantly older by the time that Céline and I met, right? Like I was in my early 40s already when we met. So, it's not like I'm in my 20s or even my 30s when we get together. So I've had enough years and enough relationships, like I had some experience there. And I can honestly say that when we first got together, I literally just knew.
That's so nice. When you did the tissues.
I know, right?
Was it love at first sight? That's the thing.
Well, we knew each other for several years before we got together, but we were in other relationships, but we literally had attraction from the first day we met.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It just wasn't right. So we had this whole dance until we could find.
We had to wait until our other, our lives, basically our other relationships sorted themselves out such that we were available for each other.
Yeah. So I guess it was just also a timing thing. Yeah. But it is kind of true. Like you just know. Mm-hmm. I remember like my first like super, super serious boyfriend. I was going to marry him and everything, but we fell in love. I fell in love like on the first date. Like I didn't know how it's possible because I didn't know this person, but I was like, I just know I love him. Like I know it. I feel it in my bones that I love him and I know him already. And so it was just weird. And then it turned out to be like absolutely true. We had like a 3-year relationship and everything. But like the point is your soul can recognize a familiar soul, right? And if that is an intense connection, like you just know the person, like before you even like talk to them, mm-hmm. You just understand them. Mm-hmm. It's crazy how those connections can happen.
So this was really awesome. I hope for our listeners too, just to see what is possible and great insight. And we'll definitely like take this in. And thank you so much for doing this for us, Maisy. And I'm curious too about maybe some of our listeners are not currently in a relationship. And so can tarot still work for them? Like how could they use that?
Well, I love tarot because it can help anyone. So even if you're not in a relationship, you can start asking on how you can better attract love or what you should be looking for or signs of your next person. Like what you can even do a reading on like what this next person is going to be like. How am I attracted to them? Where do I meet them? Or how do we connect? Like, what am I going to feel? Those are all things that you can ask about your next partner. But I also think that they're really great for just sorting out how our past is affecting our present, because I think that hinders a lot of people looking for love. So I have this spread that I sell and that I think is awesome. It's a 4-card spread. And the first card is my current relationship with love, because I think that also affects how we date. Like, whether we believe in true love or whether we were hurt and we are still angry about it, like we're going in cynical and going in angry and spiteful. So it's kind of just unveils like, what is your relationship with love right now? Is it healthy? Is it positive? The second card is like immediate challenges. And then what is blocking you from love? And then the last card is how is your past affecting your present? Or sorry, that's not your last, it's the third card. How your past is affecting your present. And then the last card is just an advice card, a general, like what to do next, how to approach it next. So I think that
sounds like a good spread, because one thing, if you do things where you're like, oh, you're going to meet this person at such a place and stuff, I'm afraid sometimes that, especially for women, then we try to make it happen too much. If like, oh, he's going to have to be like 6'3" and brown hair, and I'm going to meet him at this particular place. And I know that we tend sometimes to want it so bad that sometimes we try to force something that's not quite right. And
then you'll overlook Mr. 5'11", who's probably like perfect for you because he's not 6 feet tall, right?
I mean, it could be, but I like more of that, looking into like like within yourself? And also, like, is there a pattern I could stop so that I can start attracting that ideal partner? Because ultimately it's always coming a change from the inside that will bring it forward onto the outside.
Yeah, basically I don't typically suggest that we should read on those topics, because I think you're so right. I even I had that spread in my repertoire, my shop a while ago, and a couple years ago I took it down because I was like, I think this is, I don't know, not worth the time or the anxious energy, you know, for that person, because then they're just gonna be searching and whatever. I think it's possible to read on it. I don't know if I would advise on it. But I do think it's best to use tarot to read on things that you can control. Start, like, any of the outside factors are just outside. You can use them to gather facts, like on what's happening, but in order, like, around what to do, that should be started within and focused on within.
Yeah, I think there's and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the danger in reading in that way that you just said you don't recommend anymore is that we can, you know, it's kind of like the observer effect in quantum physics, right? Where the observer affects what's going to happen. So, like, if you get a reading and you're told it's going to be a certain way, does that actually influence the outcome later on? Because now all you're thinking about is it has to be this way, and how can I make that happen? And then you're always looking for that, and then overlooking the other things that maybe are even better for you or more right for you.
Definitely. And I don't know if you guys believe in the law of attraction, but I am such a law of attraction person. So I'm like, if I give them this idea and they start thinking about it over and over and over again, they might even attract it just because I gave it to them, you know, or
Right.
attract something like it, or just, it can get kind of wild.
Are there certain things that you won't do? Like, people will come to you and say, I don't know, I want to know how many kids I have or when I'm going to die, you know, like, are there things that you absolutely don't do?
I do not read on health or legal topics. So that health, like, includes death or illness or children, pregnancy, all of that. I don't read on any of it. And legal issues, like, will I win this lawsuit? I don't usually read. I mean, I in some it depends on the circumstance for that one. But for instance, I got like a message one time from a sister of someone who was incarcerated going through like some legal issue. And I was like, I am not going to be involving myself in that. No, thank you.
Yeah, I think the possibility of influencing somebody in a negative way, I think, is too great there, right? Where people will take something, one little piece of something that you say, and latch onto it and run with it, and then it turns out to not be in their best interest potentially. Right.
So that, and with health, I just think it's unethical, and I'm not licensed to talk about those things.
Right. Well, one, you want to protect yourself too,
I want to protect myself. Of course, it's not good if it comes back at me in a negative way.
So I'm curious, like, so people got a little bit, of course, this was shortened for the show because we wanted to fit it in there. I'm sure that when people work with you, it's a little bit more in depth. And of course, they can go, I guess, a little bit deeper too. But do you have any last word of advice for someone who might be thinking about getting a tarot reading, or anything to share with them?
Yes, I think that if you want to get a tarot reading, you should have some idea of what you want the reading on. Some people come to me. I mean, I have spreads for people who don't know what they want, but I feel like it works better if you ask at times where you need advice. And so, know what you're going to ask, and try to find a reader that you connect with. It doesn't really matter how they read, whether it's over video or over email or in person. I don't think it matters, because I've done all of them and they've all been fine. So I don't think that matters. Just find someone that you connect with, because it'll be easier for the reader to connect to you, and easier for them to read you in whatever medium or way that they do it.
Awesome. So if people liked what they heard or so and want to connect with you, where can people connect with you, Maisy?
Okay, I am on Instagram all the time. So my handle is at Tarot by Maisy. And then I have a website, tarotbymaisy.com. And those are the places that I am on most.
Awesome. And we'll have the links, of course, in the description, but you can check her out at Tarot by Maisy. And we still have a very last juicy question that we do ask all of our guests. Kevin, you want to do the honor?
Because this is the Love Lab podcast. So, we have a question we ask everybody. If you've listened to the show for a while, you know what's coming, but the interviewee usually doesn't. So our famous last question is, Maisy, what is your best sexual talent?
Oh my gosh, so raunchy. I love it. Give me a second to think on this. I feel like I have a good way with clothing and skin and like a presentation. It's like before the bedroom, I think I have a good presentation, like body presentation. So I can usually get to where we want to go.
She's saying you're a great tease.
Seductress. That's what she's telling us. She's mastered the art of seduction through clothes and skin texture, all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
all the sensual stuff,
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that honest answer.
We love it. Thank you also for coming onto the show and giving us this reading and sharing your skills with us. And make sure that you go check her out because you've got online courses and you do offer one-on-one. Like, as you can see, it can be really useful if you are in a place where you need a little bit more perspective, a third party to help you see more clearly. Maisy is the person for you to check out. So thank you, Maisy, for your time and for being on the Love Lab.
Thank you so much for having me. It was super fun to read for you guys.
All right, everybody, that's all the time we have for this episode, and we will see you next week. We hope you liked this episode of the Love Lab podcast. If you enjoy this show, subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with your friends.
And for more free, exclusive content, join us in the Passion Vault at CelineRemy.com/vault. That's CelineRemy.com/vault.
Thanks for listening.
And remember, you're amazing.